That game, it feel like you guys were playing really strong in the first period, beginning of the second, and then does it kind of just disappear in that 37-second stretch?
Yeah. I mean, it was, you made a few big mistakes. The turnover on the shorthanded, their power play goal. I don't know if it was called a power play goal or not because we might have been out of the box, but we had a great kill. We had all the momentum in the building, and we just made a bad play with the puck, and then we gave them a free 2-on-1, and they executed. So then it was in the net. So we created enough. We got to score more. I don't think our D did a good enough job delivering pucks. I thought our forwards paid a price to get to good areas tonight. I don't think our D did a good enough job getting enough pucks there. Credit Syracuse played good defensively. I thought Tompkins played really good net. We limited them. Obviously, I don't know how many shots there were, but there wasn't many. So we did a lot of good things, but we just didn't get the result.
Is this similar to these last, what are we at now, half dozen, or is the effort, is tonight's performance consistent with that?
Yeah, I think it's similar. I mean, there's a few big mistakes, that led to goals, but you're going to make mistakes. Like the position of goaltender wouldn't exist if there was never a mistake made in a game. So, I think we probably had 12 to 14 high, let's say we had 12 pretty high chances, give or take, off of their mistakes that we forced them into, and we just didn't do a good enough job capitalizing, and they probably only had 6 or 7, and unfortunately 3 of them they capitalized on, and that was the difference.
When you look at the shot suppression, they have fewer than 20 shots on goal. Does that lead into the confidence in pulling Tokarski? I mean, obviously you need 2 at that point, but with 4:35 left, that's a lot of time, and you guys still didn't surrender.
I guess I've always probably been willing to pull the goalie very early, even before that probably became a trend. And some of it's timing. Face-off's the best time to pull the goalie because everybody's fresh, you're organized, and where sometimes if you try to pull them in the middle of the play, some guys are changing because they're tired. It's more chaotic. Plus, they had iced it, so they had tired bodies on the ice. So we had fresh bodies on the ice. They had tired bodies on the ice. It felt like the proper time to do it, and we had plenty of zone time. We just didn't finish.
I do want to ask you about Rosco, who's the goal scorer tonight. He said this morning he was talking with Vinnie Hinostroza a lot lately, who's encouraging him to shoot the puck more. I'm not sure if you're ever playing for those conversations, but what has Vinnie meant to a guy like that who's trying to become a little bit more aggressive on his shot?
Yeah, I mean, Russi, we've laughed about it over the years a little bit that he's never seen an empty net he doesn't want to pass his way out of. It's tricky. He needs to shoot more, but you also don't want to take a player's greatest strength away from him, which is his creativity and his vision. So there's always a balance in that. Vinny's an offensive player, just like Michael Pekka was, so they have good conversations about the balance of those things. But I think more importantly with Rusek is just how hard he's playing. His tenacity on the puck right now this 7-game stretch is probably the best 7-game stretch of his career in terms of his tenacity on the puck. Some nights it's leading to goals and other nights maybe not, but his play away from the puck to hunt and work to get it back is at really probably an all-time high right now, which is great to see.
Why is it so tough to score goals?
Well, you're playing one of the best defensive teams in the league, so that's part of it. I think lately, some of it is goaltenders. When you go through that stretch starting on the road, we went Subban, Domingue, Hellberg, Jack Greaves, who's having a great year, DiPietro's having a great year, then Tompkins. I think 6 of those 7 guys have played in the NHL and played well in the NHL. So that's part of it. I think it's that time of year. We're giving up less goals as well right now. Teams start playing better defense this time of year. Points start mattering more. It gets a little bit more tedious to create. And I think we've played big, heavy, older teams quite a bit. All three of those Atlantic teams are kind of big, heavy, older teams. Certainly Providence is that way, and certainly Syracuse twice is certainly that way. So I think that plays into it as well.
Is something different in Roseanne's game, or just since he's come back?
He hasn't been as good since he's been back. Yeah.
And sometimes that's a natural. They get a taste, and this is great.
I don't think with him it's great. I think there's probably putting too much pressure on himself to come down here and dominate to try to get back there. But it's hard to evaluate sometimes this game in particular, coming back off 3 days break with no practice. But he has not. He hasn't been as good since he's been back. But I have full faith that he will get his game back in order. Yeah, just trying to find some chemistry, with Kulik gone. Kulik and him obviously have great chemistry. Bierzy and Rusek have great chemistry. There's been times Neuchev has played well with Bierzy and Rusek, but for whatever reason, it hasn't ended up in the net.
There were chances tonight that he created, and it just.
He's been around it a lot in the last 6-7 games. Neuchev has, but not a lot of it's turned into goals yet. He's doing a lot of good things, which is a good sign. Obviously, that's a big, heavy team for a young, 19-year-old to be playing against.
Obviously, that 37-second stretch was rough, but overall, how do you feel Karski played tonight?
He didn't have a lot of work, so he wasn't poor. The game was not on him. None of the goals were, the third goal he probably would like to have. I don't think that was a great shot. I think that was probably middle of the net. But those are big mistakes, and credit Syracuse, they capitalized on them. The hard thing as a goalie when your team plays that good a defense in front of you is you don't have the shots to make up the body of work, right? And so it just is what it is. So he didn't have a bad game, but he didn't have enough shots to play his way out of the goals that they scored, I guess.
Hershey coming up on Friday, is there a little bit of extra motivation or fire with the team? I know it's early after this team because of what happened in the playoffs last year.
Yeah, I'm sure that come tomorrow and then Friday morning there'll be a little bit of talk about that. Probably more importantly, though, is they're the best team in the league by a mile right now, and so it's a good measuring stick for where you're at. We're not where we need to be at. We know that. We're a work in progress. I think we're getting better at a lot of things right now. We're much better defensive team. We're much better away from the puck. We're much better at forechecking and breaking the puck out. Offensively, we need to keep improving to get back to our offensive game, and then. But this will be a good measuring stick game. Yes, you had last year losing to them in the conference finals. That's motivation enough, but it's also a good measuring stick because right now they're the best team in the league by a mile.
Is there a good time for them to come in?
I think it's always a good time to play great teams. I think adversity and having adverse situations leads to a lot of growth in you as a player individually, but also in your team collectively. And we've had some adversity over the last couple of weeks, and we're going to have adverse situations come Friday because the best team in the league's coming to the building. We'll have our hands full.
Coach, so one of the things we noticed with today's game, compared to the other games, you mentioned how the defense team started kind of honing on defense improved. The team was really physical, probably one of the most physical games we saw from the defense. And probably this season, what did you kind of talk over with the guys going into this game, just to try and lead sort of adjustments that you made that allow your defense to really take Syracuse out of the first period?
I think that our team defense has become more physically engaged in the last month. I don't think it was a one-night thing. I think that there's starting to become more trust in the D and the forwards. Like the D can be more aggressive if they trust that the forwards are going to back check and cover for them when they're aggressive. The worry always is a defenseman, whether to jump offensively or to try to be very physical, is that what happens off of my back if I do that? And the only way you can do that is to have immense trust in our forward group that they're going to back check their rear ends off to cover. So I think there's starting to be more connectivity in our defensive game, which is a good thing. And we need to keep going with that.
And one last question for you. So I know you acquired Bryson, like around a week ago or so, and he's already played a couple games and still strong. Like, what does he brought, especially for like some of the guys who haven't really had much experience in the NHL? I mean, like, what does he bring to the table for those guys? And kind of like, I don't know, pointers he gives out since he's been in the Sabres for a couple seasons.
Yeah, Bryson's been great. He's a great teammate. He's played, over 150, I think, games in the NHL. He's a calming influence. He can break the puck out efficiently. He can play against other teams' top players. And a lot of teams in the American League have guys that have played 200, 300, 400, 500 games in the NHL. Riley Nash, those types of guys. We're a younger based team. So to have a few guys that have some of that experience helps be a calming influence in hard situations. Prow is skating. I think he'll join the team tomorrow, non-contact. So he's getting close. I'd say still, 1 to 2 weeks out. Metza will practice with the team tomorrow as well. He's getting close. He's very close. He's probably closer than Prow. Is that it?
Cedar Crest was healthy.
Cedar Crest is healthy. Yeah. I think that's it.
Thanks, guys.